Okay, I'm going to do part 2 of video file 7 now. The dog started barking in the previous video, so I had to stop. But this is life and we must crack on. And I'll read the next part of the story to you. We were about to make our relationship more secure by tying the knot in a romantic destination with our closest friends and family members to share the special moments and memories with us. It was to be our dream come true, a once-in-a-lifetime, a sought-after wedding and honeymoon, and a time to remember. We were young, eloping individuals who were about to embark on our new life as a married couple, so excited about our continued home life and our life ahead together, until death do us part, or so the fairy tale goes. It was never going to be a happy ending, until much later on in my life, with unbeknown to me another man I was destined to marry. Never hide your feelings, because if they are true, they will resurface again when you least expect it. No one can ever take those memories away from me, even though I have only a few photographs. I remember the feelings I experienced that day, August the 18th, 2001, and I still celebrate it. I still will go to the church and I will stand for a few moments and remember those special memories on that special day. Those are the memories in my head that I will cherish and never forget, because I know deep in my heart that every word was meant to be said and every action too. Those memories of that perfect day will stay with me forever and will never leave me. Never forget that I hold the best for you. And I'm here for you when you surrender to my loving. And no one will ever experience the love I have once had and still have for him until I let go. And that is what I chose to do. There was no longer a need to hold on to any love of any kind from my past. In these present times, my new man had found me, discovered me for who I was, and only had the love for him. I wasn't to know that the future held so many surprises for me, and I was destined to meet my new love much later on, and that's why, although the story about to be told had to be told, the future had no place for any of my past, but it had a purpose. It was there to shape me, never to break me. The hard times. Those times were hard at the very beginning of the transition period between the old life that I once led and the new life that I was about to lead. Once I had made the decision to break the bonds and keep on walking. You get to a stage in your life where you've reached the point where you've been striving to get to for many years. A point where everything is supposedly what you have always wanted. A career decision destined to change your life. Be proud of yourself. Be confident in your ability, your skills, your life. You have to be the one to break the cycle. The consideration. You have a good job, a welcoming home, a man who loves you, and you are happily married. The next step is to have children, and as the story goes, you will be happy for the rest of your life. Consider yourself extremely lucky to have got this far. It takes some people years, sometimes a lifetime, to achieve exactly what you have achieved, and are still about to achieve. How far you've come. This happens to be an elite achievement. Your own home, a degree, a new job, a close family, true, sincere and inspiring friends, and everyone surrounding you who love you. It would be a shame to spoil all this at the flick of a coin, a roll of a dice. This is when anything can happen. Some call it a twist in fate or destiny calling. You choose. Who knows where life will take you? Sometimes we're not in control. And once you've made the choice, you have only one option left to do, to let go. No one really knows for certain anything in this life. Develop an awareness to be able to trust the information that is given to you, deciphering which is true, and trust your gut feeling. If you are truly unhappy, then you have to move on. Be happy. For the sake of your own happiness, you need to continue to move on, strong. The decision. That's a choice you have to make when part of you strives for this unknown identity, this constant drive to change what you have got, which from an outsider is considered to be a unique and a sought-after life. After all, I was 23. You realise that the point where you have reached has all been down to you, your determination, your perseverance, your choices, and you begin to realise that you deserve all the credit for all that you have achieved. But no matter how far you go, someone is always there to criticise you and belittle any small inkling of enthusiasm and drive that you may have. That is because they cannot begin to understand how much you have worked for what you have got and how much effort you have had to put in along the way. Nothing has come easy, and you have had to work hard to get exactly where you are now. No one can take this off you now. You make the ultimate decision to stay or go. For how long, nobody knows. Keep on walking until you reach your final destination, home. Back to where you belong, safe in the arms of a man who has become part of your past. He who knew you for you, who has been on the same journey as you. He's waited with bated breath to see you arrive home and welcome you with open arms. This will take many years for you to be greeted by this man, and there will be many lessons you will both have to learn along the way. Some together, but the rest on your own. Trust in the guidance written in this book and use it as a way to move forward. No matter how long it takes, you will eventually reach your final destination. Lay in the loving arms of your dream man, the one you have hoped for. The reasons for leaving in 2002. You see, at this point I realised and came to terms with all the reasons why I left my home life. And these reasons came to me after a final bolt to a place where I could be totally on my own and face the reality of what had happened over the last 3 months. I could be myself. Here I realised that the times I had bolted before were for exactly the same reasons. But the difference being was that I wasn't strong enough to do it alone back then. Instead, I went to places where I knew I could do nothing wrong, and whatever I said would be heard. These were welcoming homes. These places were places where I could gather my thoughts, shut out any lingering feelings, hurt and anger I was feeling inside. I knew that this hurt and anger would still rear its ugly head once in a while, and after this weekend, I knew that it would be buried and would only surface again when people were ready to listen and hear my side of the story. Ultimately, the publishing of this book would reveal all. The second edition would seal this fate. It would reveal more. I would then channel this newfound energy into speaking my mind with assertion, like I'm doing now in these video files. Here in this new place, space and time, I was able to move on. Deep down, a part of me was fed up of being there for other people and respecting their wishes, and then not gaining any satisfaction back from them when I needed their support. It was at this point in my life I discovered that time was fluid. At any point in time, anyone can make the choice to escape, or make the decision to be with you. So I kept myself free for the right man to return. I knew who he was. My heart was in his hands. Instead of leading a life of happiness and enjoyment, which I so longed for, I had to deal with lies and wrongful accusations. People who were too scared to get the answers from the person herself were now instead forming judgments and creating make-believe stories that gave them an answer regardless of how wrong they were. All was spinning the giant web of entrapment and deception. Unless I left well alone and carried on ignoring all this controversy, I would never have escaped the engulfing trap created by others. Those who had stopped talking to me were now talking about me. I had to rise above. The setbacks. What bothers me is that people around you take you for granted. They don't take time to appreciate you and what you have got. And all it takes is just a few little words of encouragement and appreciation. That is not too much to ask for, is it? With very little money, you also find it difficult to understand how some people never learn the value of money and learn to accept it from other people rather than go out and earn it for themselves. They in turn will never understand how you feel inside when you see people around you having things handed to them on a plate when you have had to work hard to get exactly where you are now. It is unfair. It is fine to have some help if you are in the position where you need it to give you a kickstart in life. But when the help is given to you continuously and you are stopped in the tracks of ever achieving anything for yourselves, you start to get a little disheartened and begin to wonder whether you can totally survive on your own, to learn to appreciate all that you have got. Perseverance and independence is the key. That's when you have to make the ultimate decision to stay in the life that you have created and so much want, or go to a life that is destined to bring you everything your heart desires and more. Elements of both lives make the components of the new life the chosen path. The boredom and the frustration. Life is very simple for some people, be it not a criticism, but what happens when you get tired of everybody talking about the same mundane things and you start to feel a little bit frightened of bursting someone else's bubble. They have reached their stage in life and they are happy and content, but it's not the same stage as you. Sometimes you can forget that, and if you are not careful, you face the threat and danger of being pulled under and into their life, when you must realise that you lead a totally different and separate life from them, and you need to lead it alongside them, but not with them. Separate yourself from any situation that may present traps and problems if you are able to. Everyone, I feel, is part of this stereotypical regime where minds and attitudes interlink for no apparent reason. The matter to be considered is whether or not this is what is expected or accepted by all. I, for one, don't know the answer to that, and it is in my best interest to explore all possible corners of life in order for me to find the answers. You do, after all, only have one life, and you need to make the most of it. You have to be sure of the company you keep, be sure of the direction that your life is taking, and be ready to intervene if things are not going your way. By listening to other people's stories, I gained a perspective on different lives led. You cannot help the way that you feel, and if what you feel is despair, frustration and fear, then there is only one other option left, and that is to move on, as long as it is right for you. You may hurt those who love you the moment, and it may feel as though they are against your wishes, but really deep down they instinctively know that you are unhappy, and they want the best for you. They don't know of a way out to help you, and will have to leave you to walk further and further away to discover your true self. Walk this path alone, but not on your own. For now, anyway. We got married when I was 23, and he was 27. Then 6 months later, a breakdown of the relationship occurred. A separation happened, then divorce leading to severance, our lives torn in two, never to be seen again. I created two worlds, his and mine. That way, I could escape from the confinements of a painful, vindictive, hostile world into a world where I was loved and accepted for me, where I didn't have to put up with the isolation, ignorance, and our different perspectives on life. That fateful day, for reasons that are detailed in this book, I made the decision to leave my then husband in 2002. I spent most of the first 5 years on my own, moving from one house to the next, one job to another, one location after another. In my eyes, I had experienced bullying and entrapment. My life had been exhumed from me. I had to escape another life, one that suited my lifestyle and personality. Although part of me longed for my old life and my first love I left behind, I discovered that there were other men who I met, most friends, some lovers, who were there for me at different times in my life until I met my ex-fiancé. This is when my life took a cruel turn. A harsh twist of fate dealt the biggest blow yet in my life so far. What was thought to be a destined, loving and true relationship turned out to be a false situation, a false man, and a life of lies, as I had to leave behind what I had grown to know as a compulsive liar. He that had promised me everything had torn the very life and soul out of my very existence. Then when I decided to leave him, the shocking revelation was that I left with nothing but my son and my dog and what I had brought materialistically into the home. I wasn't one to be hidden away. Again, the world I had created in my imagination during the time away from my ex-husband became my retreat again for me. It was a place I could escape to when I had had enough of enduring the humiliation, cruel treatment and abuse that was being hurled at me from all directions. Prior to this relationship ending, I had chosen to settle down with this man, staying with him for 5 years, and this was where I began reflecting on the life I left behind. Hence the book was taking on another level, much deeper than the first. New chapters were being written, titles were being embedded, and more writing took place, more revelations, and finally the final edit in 2013. I had left my ex-fiancé 2 years by this time. I was on my own this time with my little boy in tow and my dog. I was more able to analyse and make sense of all the writing that had been done over the years, as I was again spending this time on my own. During the final read-through, I was able to hold a clear perspective on what happened. I could reflect on the past and make sense of it all. I could forgive and then forget. I had done the right thing for all involved. A twist of fate after leaving the father to my firstborn, because of his selfish ways, brought me back home, a decade later, to the place where I left when I was 17. I returned to the town from where I came from. This is when my new life unfolded upon my return to my hometown. 2 failed serious relationships, and the lessons I had learned led me to my 3rd relationship, which eventually, after some amount of time and patience, led to my 2nd marriage, more children, and a forever happy ever after. At this time, in March 2019, was still a dream, but the dream was becoming more real every step I took further into the future. I had to believe. However, we both had learning to do. Space and time needed to be given to the situation, but in the end, it was all worth it for the benefit of experiencing the new profound life that destiny was keeping warm for both of us, whilst we took the time to get to know each other again and know each other well, to develop a true, honest friendship, which later turned into a wholesome, loving, honest and true relationship with an unbreakable, unstoppable, secure and solid bond. Our love was to light the way, give people hope, encouragement and faith. It was to shed light on the dark satanic land, and was the right kind of love, not of the hurting kind. I now knew why my life had to have worked out the way it had done, and I was determined to continue to make all my dreams come true with him by my side, encouraging me, urging me on, just like it should be. I knew I was loved from afar, despite his ignorance and absences. Our love grew deeper and deeper until we were inseparable. I found the last stages very difficult being apart from him because of his circumstances, but I had my friends and family supporting me now. Life was bearable. He came into my life on the brink, on the edge. I felt the same. We were there for each other. We believed in each other. Our love had been tested and made secure. We were not afraid of loving each other, and our love was unconditional. He was my friend right from the start. Humanity had taken its course. The choice. You are here to enjoy life. Why do people set out to make you so unhappy? It's unthinkable and ludicrous. It is so that life is questionable. Therefore, making choices provide your answers, surely? You have to be the one that makes the right choice for you, and it may not be the choice others want you to make, which will make your decision very difficult to make. The choice you make will either get you on the path you want, or completely the opposite, leading you on a path that has all doors closed. It's the risk that you have to take. It sets you apart from the rat race, the treadmill, and the downward slide we find ourselves in sometimes. It has to be said that sometimes risks have to be taken. We sometimes have to go it alone and reap what we sow. Face the consequences, which although short-term are difficult to accept, long-term you will surely know you have made the right decision. The choice to leave. As much as I fought to save my past relationships that lay in tatters, it was too late. The damage had already been done, and once the decision had been made to leave, there was no turning back. Once the choice had been made to uproot and move on, very quickly a new chapter had begun, and following that, many more chapters were to come. My pathway wasn't easy, but each step was made clear. My life had become undone, twice. The first time around as an independent single divorcee, and the second time as an ex-girlfriend with a little boy in tow and a dog, as a single mom living every day as survival, protecting, providing, and using my natural instincts to soldier on in the best way I knew how, in hope of better days and an easier, more enjoyable life. Once I could piece it together again, as my life and my past lay like splinters of glass scattered all over the floor, the further I went, the more distant my past and those in it became. There was nothing I could do but to keep on walking, facing forward, further ahead, in order to discover what lay ahead. As my feet would tire, my new life would unfold like a blanket of interwoven tapestry. A tapestry of many luminous, bright, vibrant colours, blinded by the light of the luxurious lifestyle I was destined to have. I was meeting new people, helping them, they were helping me, we were helping each other. It was meant to be humanity, humanitarian. Remain in control. You have to remain in control in every aspect of your everyday life. And when someone else starts to tell you what you should be doing, that is when you need to reassess and decide which advice you wish to follow. Life changes are not easy, and it takes some thought to know which direction to proceed in. Do what pleases you. This is the way forward. This is justice. The analysis. If your gut feeling is that you are happy and you have reached a point in your life where you are content with the situation you are in, and you are fulfilled with every aspect of it, whether it is with parents, a partner, children, or on your own, then there is no reason for you to change your life or situation. Carry on enjoying life with those around you and take each day as it comes. Learn to let go of time, because time can be engulfing. It can be a fluid that can be wasted easily. Spend your days doing what you enjoy the most and learn to please and serve others, whilst they in turn should do the same for you. That way, the company you keep will keep you happy, and those you are with will share in your happiness. Life is too short to be unhappy. If you are unhappy with any aspect of your life, in your job, your partner, your friends, your family, then be honest with how you are feeling and expect changes. If there are no changes, then it really is time to move on and lead the life you are yearning. No one deserves to feel inadequate, underappreciated, and overpowered, controlled, not listened to. Then moving on. To put it another way, on the other hand, if your gut feeling makes you wonder whether there is something else out there that is going to complement the life that you want to lead, then it is time to move on swiftly, leaving all what you thought to be a solid foundation behind and heading forth to a destination unknown is maybe the only option. But you have to be clear and certain with your decision and safeguard. Safeguard yourself. Life is short and the decision you make can be scary. Be sure you make the right choice for you and consider the feelings of those around you. Be strong with your decision. Have conviction. Make your choice and carry it through. Remain safe and never put anyone or yourself in any harm, danger. Keep out of harm's way. The discovery. The thing is, you have got to believe it, that a better life awaits you. And once you start believing everyone is behind you, then that is when things will become easier, and eventually you will look back and think the transition from one life to the next wasn't that bad after all. It will soon all become a distant memory with no regrets. Clinging on, holding on for the sake of others close to you will impede your progress and stop you from reaching your desired destination. If you get their backing, then great. Set your goals and go with them. Go get them. Reach for the stars. It's not going to be easy by a long stretch, and you will learn many vital life lessons along the way, taught to you by those who you meet intended to make you stronger and wiser. You need to trust that all who matter to you will be there at the end of the journey. Keep going, walking on, moving forward, rising above. Life is for living and for being happy. Balance is the key. Those who are meant to be there will be there. It is a promise. Don't worry.